My name is Cynthia and I live in Abuja, Nigeria. I never planned to tell this story. I kept it quiet for a long time, telling myself it wasn't my place, that silence has a way of protecting the wrong people. And eventually, it begins to feel like guilt. People like Daniel never arrive loudly. They come softly like answers to prayers that have been whispered for too long. I first heard his name in fragments, quiet warnings, half-finished sentences, a pause before someone said, "Be careful." At the time, I didn't understand why people spoke about him with such heaviness. I assumed it was bitterness, maybe jealousy, maybe just the usual stories that follow failed relationships. I didn't know then that those pauses carried pain. Daniel had mastered the art of appearing broken by life. He spoke of love as if it had betrayed him. Marriage to him was something he desperately wanted, but could never quite reach, always because of circumstances, never because of choice. He talked about family, children, and settling down in Nigeria as if these dreams kept him awake at night. Women listened, because hope sounds convincing when it speaks gently. Daniel didn't have a job, not a real one. No office, no business, no trade. His livelihood was emotional manipulation. He survived by studying loneliness, especially the loneliness of women who were tired of being asked why they were still single, tired of attending weddings alone, tired of being strong. That was his hunting ground. He would move fast, too fast. Love came quickly. Marriage discussions followed immediately. He spoke of introductions, family meetings, and traditional rites as if they were already planned. And once a woman began to feel secure she started spending, supporting him, helping him get on his feet, things would begin to disappear. Money, phones, valuables. And then Daniel would disappear too. No goodbye, no explanation. Only silence. He had done this to many women across Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Some cried quietly and never spoke again. Some warned others, but warnings often sound like noise to a heart that wants to believe. Then he entered my friend Amara's life. He told me he loved her. He said she was different, that she was the woman he wanted to marry. According to him, the only obstacle was his mother. There was always a mother, an uncle, a family issue delaying commitment. Still, he spoke with such conviction that for a moment even I wanted to believe him, for Amara's sake. But something wasn't right. The stories change. The timeline shifted. The love felt rehearsed. And then, without shame, without fear, Daniel asked me out behind Amara's back. As if loyalty meant nothing. As if betrayal was normal. That was the moment everything collapsed. I started paying attention, asking quiet questions, listening to stories I had once ignored. That was when I realized Amara wasn't his usual target. She asked too many questions. She didn't give money easily. She wasn't desperate, just hopeful. Hopeful but not foolish. So Daniel adjusted his plan. He invited me to Lagos, asking me to come and help him borrow money. His voice was urgent, familiar like lines he had memorized long ago. In that moment, the truth became painfully clear. He wasn't inviting me because he cared. He was inviting me because he calculated. Amara wasn't giving him what he wanted. And before she could fully see through him, he reached for another option, me. I turned down his request and blocked his number immediately. What hurt the most was discovering that even his own brothers had turned their backs on him. They were tired of apologizing. Tired of defending a man who left destruction behind him. Tired of believing promises he never intended to keep. Yet Daniel never changed. Now when I think of him, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel sorrow. Because men like him don't just steal money, they steal trust. They leave women questioning their worth, doubting their judgment, afraid to love again. Somewhere tonight in Nigeria, Daniel may be speaking softly into another phone. Somewhere, another woman may be smiling, believing she has finally found her husband. Somewhere, Hope may be opening its door, unaware that loss is already standing behind it. And that is the saddest part, because the story isn't over. It never really ends. The only question that remains heavy, unanswered is, who will be next when he disappears again? To all single ladies, be wise. Not every man who speaks of love means it. Some wolves wear sheep's clothing so well that by the time you see the teeth, it is already too late. If this story touched you, helped you, or reminded you that you are not alone, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps more real stories reach hearts that need healing.